we not allowed to have a little bit of rage in our lives? After all, I think a little bit of rage is very good, isn't it, Paul?
We are the happy headers, and you know what? We're not allowed to be rageful, if there is such a word as rageful. You're not really allowed to be.
Road rage is like illegal, you know.
Well, it is. Any kind of rage is forbidden, really. But I mean, what is rage? Well, first of all, it's an intense emotional response to something. It's it's a knee-jerk kind of just extreme anger where you just kind of just let loose.
Yeah.
But there's some people who are prone to be more rageful than others.
Well, it's a secondary emotion. So when you think about it, you know, when Paul annoys me or hurts my feelings, I'm entitled to be raged at.
Yes, but you're easily made into angry.
Angry.
So I'm a very placid kind of a person, so she can say or do what she likes, and it just won't send me into a sense of rage.
You know?
Yet she hasn't pushed me to my boundaries yet.
I know. I've really tried though, lads.
But you mentioned road rage.
Yeah.
So I often experience people doing silly things on the road, cutting in front of me and maybe opening the car door and banging the side of my car. And while I don't get out and take a baseball bat out of the boot of the car and whack them.
Yeah.
So why do some people do that?
It must be impulse, but then I remember learning in college that like you've got 3 seconds to control yourself, you know, when rage starts to come up in you. And you literally have 3 seconds. In that 3 seconds you have a choice whether you lose the head or whether you take a deep breath and count to 10 and go, okay, no, I'm not going for the baseball bat.
But you see,
some people can't help it, Paul.
Well, they can help it. They can help it. That's the thing. That's just an excuse.
Okay.
First of all, you have to go, well, why have they got a baseball bat in the boot of the car in the first place? Do they play baseball? Baseball is not popular in Ireland.
No.
So they have already decided that this is going to be a valid form of response when the occasion merits it.
Oh my God.
So people who feel road rage, they have already got a pent-up amount of rage. They're carrying frustration, and the slightest little thing is going to tip them over. So they're not just responding to that person who hits them with the door of the car when they're getting out. They're responding to that and everything else that's pissed them off ever before.
So it's a release, really, of emotion, isn't it?
Intense release
of all of that.
It's not told through.
Yeah.
But why I say it can be controlled. So I did martial arts for years, and you learned to control your response to any situation, to read a situation. So if something was happening, if there was trouble brewing, whatever, I can quickly assess the situation and what my appropriate response would be.
Yeah.
So you can be taught that. Anybody can be taught that.
Yeah. But it just depends if they want to be taught it.
Yeah.
You know. And why is rage associated more with men than women?
Testosterone.
Is that it?
Oh, the fucking testosterone. Because you see it in nature.
Yeah.
2 stags going at it, bulls, male lions.
Or they're instinctively fighting for territory.
For the females.
Doing?
Fighting over women.
Women, oh Jesus.
Women are the cause of rage. I'm just stating that it's not supported by any stats. So. Joking.
But actually, now that you mentioned that, I do see when people are out and drink is involved. I think drink is a big problem here in Ireland anyway. I don't know where the rest of the world, but definitely here, like, you know, women are desperate for playing one lad off another and
to get a response.
Flirting with some fella and then just to see, will her current boyfriend stand up for her?
All right. Will he fight for her?
Will he fight for her? Like, and sure, 9 times out of 10 they cause the row.
Jeez, I'd say you're a barrel of fun to be out with.
Well, I don't go out, Paul.
Luckily enough, that's a coping strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not safe. It's not safe to allow you.
Drama is not my thing.
But as therapists, we're both therapists. When we get people with intense anger issue, it usually flags that there's some unresolved issue in the person's mind, something they haven't dealt with previously. And this is why they are instinctively responding with a rage response every time something happens?
Well, I often find, like, if I'm working with men who have been traumatised as children, they're fighting for the little boy inside. So I think that's where a lot of the rage comes out of, or where you see teenagers, but male and female, you know, there's a lot of rage going on there. It's because they weren't able to stand up for themselves as children. They didn't have that voice. And now, the way they feel is that they have to be angry or to shout to be heard within their family unit. So they learn that coping mechanism through life, you know, and it becomes a natural part of their being.
And do you think that the female response to rage is different to the male?
No, I don't actually. I don't think, you know, all women are rageful, and I certainly don't think all men are rageful. I do think it's quite equal in that regard, and I think, you know, women just have different tactics.
Do more of the verbal giving out thing rather than smashing or breaking things?
Actually, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because women can tend to be a little bit more clipped there, you know, in the things that they say. They'll say things to, you know, hurt people a lot easier, whereas men just want to hurt you physically.
Much more straightforward.
There's no thought going into this, you know, which kind of questions, you know, our theory then that we have time to think. Because do you ever hear the expression, somebody sees red? You know, or they black out. You know, I mean, we're dangerously moving into schizophrenia here, aren't we? You know, like there's a very fine line there.
But
you know,
the thing is that you're not helpless against rage.
Yeah.
You can learn to manage it. And one of the things I advocate all the time is physical activities.
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, the other week we had the hurling All-Ireland final, we had the football one last week, but GAA, I think, as opposed to soccer or even rugby, it's a very, very physical, sometimes violent game, but maybe playfully violent. The guys who will be whacking the heads of each other on the pitch, you know, 70 minutes later they're hugging and embrace each other and they're down the pub having a drink. So physical activity allows you to express this anger out and this frustration. And even if you're not participating in the game, you're in the crowd, you're shouting and you're roaring.
Yeah, it's getting out, you're vocalising whatever's going on for you.
So sports therapy, and this is why I would say a lot of people, you know, there's been a whole generation, or maybe even two generations at this point, who've kind of grown up in video games, which are very static. You're sitting physically in front of a monitor and you're there and you're just doing the thing, and the only thing that's moving is your thumbs and your eyeballs. So you may get angry or frustrated at the game that you're playing, but I mean, what do? You kind of go, nah. And that's the only physical response. You do need a physical response sometimes to rage, but it doesn't have to be out of control.
Oh, definitely not. One of the things I recommend for teenagers actually and parents is to get an old bonnet of a car out of a scrapyard, provided you have space
One
for it.
that's not still attached to the bonnet of the car that your parents own.
Exactly, and a good hurl or something like that, and just beat the absolute feck out of it. You have to see the damage you're doing. I don't recommend people kicking a ball up against the wall, because that energy is just bouncing right back at you.
The punch bag is good as well.
Punch bag's amazing, absolutely. Anything. I don't think screaming into a pillow or punching a pillow is very effective. Just from personal experience. But I like to see the damage I'm doing, you know.
Mindfulness and meditation is also very good. You can learn to just observe your mind and to calm your mind.
Control yourself.
And control how you respond to every situation, because when you have that control as regards rage, you actually have it as regards everything else in your life. And when you respond, your initial reaction to anything is your initial reaction, but you don't have to go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like opening the wardrobe in your room and just taking out the first thing that you see. You can go, nah, there's that and there's that. No, I'll pick this. So you can pick and choose your response to rage.
And the more practice you have at doing the right thing, like the mindfulness or the meditation, then the quicker you're going to respond in that way.
Okay, we are the Happy Headers. Like us, subscribe to us. We're gradually reaching 1,000 subscribers. That's our goal. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Talk to you soon.